Apyayantu mamangani Bhakpranashyakshushrutramato Valamendriyani sa sarvani Sarvam Brahmopanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarut Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishadsu Brahmaste me santu Te me santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May quietness descend upon my limbs, my speech, my breath, my eyes, my ears. May all my senses wax clear and strong. May Brahman show himself unto me. May I never deny Brahman nor Brahman me. I with him and he with me. May we abide always together. May there be revealed to me who am devoted to Brahman, the holy truth of the Upanishads. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. This morning our subject is Tell us the Upanishads, Part 3. Upanishad. In ancient times, the seekers of God would go to the rishis, the seers of truth, with a question. Upanishadam bruhi. Tell us the Upanishads. And the Guru say, Uktate Upanishad. I have told you, Upanishad. What comes from our lips, that is truth. Bhavhe Brahmim Bhavate Upanishad Abrahma iti. Verily I talk only the Upanishads. Now what is this Upanishad? In my first lecture of this series, I told elaborately about the Upanishad. I think that is in May. Upanishad is the last part of the Vedas. Each Veda has 4 parts: Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishad. It is the end of the Vedas, so it is also called Vedanta. These truths of the Upanishads are discovered by the rishis, by the ancient sages of India. They discovered. They did not invent the mantras. They discovered the mantras. The scripture says, Rishayo mantra drishtaru, natu mantrasya kartaru. The rishis are the seers of these mantras, but they are not the inventor, creator of the mantras. Swami Vivekananda made a remark. The Vedas, the mass of knowledge, wisdom, without beginning, without end. How can a scripture be without beginning and without end? Swamiji gave a beautiful illustration. Newton discovered the law of gravitation, seeing the fall of an apple. Before Newton's birth, all the apple would come down, and after his death, also all apples are coming down, no apples are going up. So what he discovered? He has discovered the law of gravitation. It is the law. So these Upanishads are the truth. At different times, at different places, the rishis discovered various aspects of the same truth. Now, sometimes we see different rishis are expressing their experiences in their own languages. So are they different? No. In the Brahma Sutra, he says, Tatu Samanayat. But all the scriptures, Shastra, all the truths of the Upanishads are in the scripture. But if you think that all the scriptures are, they speak differently, no. Tatu Samanayat. It combines, it reconciles, it brings harmony, all truths. I sometimes give an example. On the bank of the Mississippi River in St. Louis, there is an arch. One can reach that arch through Highway 40, Highway 44, Highway 55, from Illinois side, Highway 70, or Lingle Boulevard. There were the Gelmer Boulevard. All these roads and highways meet the arch. So these different roads and different channels reach the same goal. So all the scriptures, all religions meet the same goal. And as we find that beautiful verse in the Shiva Mahimna Stotram, Ruchinam Vaicitrat Rijukutila Nana Patajusham Niname Kuvaimas Payasi Taram Varnavai Tapasi Varnaiva Varnavaiva. Many all different rivers originated from different places, but all mingle to the ocean. The ocean is the goal. Arch is the goal. Brahman is the goal. But in many ways we can reach. As I always say, religions are not God. Religions are the paths. So one can reach the same truth through different ways. That is the way we find a beautiful harmony of religions in Vedanta. Nowadays, seldom anybody says my religion is the only true religion. When we reach the goal, what happens? Upashanto ayumatma. We become silent. The ultimate truth is abhang manusya gocharam, beyond mind, beyond speech. The Upanishad says, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaho. When we reach that ultimate reality, we cannot express. We cannot think about it. Why? Because at that point, Gyan, Gyo, Gyata, three become one. Knower, knowledge, knowable, all three become one. Meditator, meditation, and the object of meditation, all three become one. That is called Triputi Laya, according to Vedanta. Their I consciousness and Brahman consciousness become one. The bubble which is floating on the ocean, when it bursts, it becomes one with the ocean. That happens. So all these human beings are floating in the ocean of Satchidananda with a bubble. What is that bubble? Ego. When that ego is smashed, boom. One with Brahman, one with God. The ego is the one between the infinite and the finite. When they become one, we call it Samadhi. The mystics know it, and theologians fight about it. Upanishads are like GPS or the road maps or the Google Maps. It will take us to our destination. Meaning of the Upanishad, Shankara gave three meanings. First is, it loosens the knots, the bondage of Maya. Shithiloiti, shithil, it loosens. Second meaning, it destroys ignorance. Third meaning, it helps attain that Brahman. Apasadayati, vinishyati, vinashayati, prapnoti. These are the three Sanskrit words Shankara used. Apasadayati, loosens, prapnoti, to attain, vinashayati, to destroy. Another commentator made a very beautiful remark. Upa means near, ni means nirjane, gopane, shad means to live. That means if you go to the teacher in the forest, in solitude, and live with him, that teacher will tell you the mystery. Upanishad is called Rahusya Vidya. It is a mystical language, mystical knowledge. Why mystical? Because we cannot see it. We do not see the 2 pages of our lives. We do not know where we come from. We do not know where shall we go. So the Upanishad, these scriptures help us to locate, to find out those 2 missing pages. So it is a mysterious knowledge, mysterious wisdom. Rahusya Vidya. Another commentator made another beautiful remark about the Upanishad. Well, knower of the Guru, the teacher, his mind is luminous, the knowledge of Brahman. And he is possessed with that Brahman. When a disciple comes, the disciple feels that he is near a big fireplace, a tangible spirituality, consciousness. So he gets a little bit the glimpses of the truth from the teacher. It is like light one lamp from the other lamp. But this light will not diminish. The light remains the same. That is the way we find the relationship between Guru and disciple. For that reason, Upanishad is called Agama. Agama means Guru Mukhat Agochyati, the thing which comes from the lips of the Guru. It is Gurumukhi Vidya. You will have to learn from the teachers. So ancient time, what would they do? The students would go to the teacher with humility. We shall talk about it more, how to. Upanishad. Upanishad is called Satyasya Satyam. It is the truth of the truth. What does it mean, truth of the truth? Mundaka Upanishad says there are 2 kinds of knowledge, lower knowledge and higher knowledge. What is lower knowledge? Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, Shiksha, Kalpa, Vyakarana, Chanda, Jyotisham, Niruktamiti. Whatever we learn from the universities, physics, chemistry, mathematics, botany, biology, all philosophy, all these things are lower knowledge. Why? Because this knowledge is the knowledge of the created things. Created universe. But the knowledge of the uncreated, that is the higher knowledge, supreme knowledge. Jaya tad aksharamadigammati, through which we can know that immutable, unchanging reality of Brahman. That is the highest knowledge. Lower knowledge, higher knowledge. So Satyasya Satyam, it is the truth of the truth. My stomachache is true, my headache is true. I go to the hospital, I get the medicine, those things are true, I am cured. That is true, my hunger is true, but not absolute truth. Absolute truth is the truth of that unchanging reality. That is the reason all this universe, these things you see, that is true, because This existence comes from that supreme reality, from Brahman. Brahman exists, so the world exists. This Brahman is nirupadik. And this Jeev Jagat, the manifestation of Brahman, is shopadik, with upadhi. What is the upadhi? Maya. Through Maya we see this universe and the beings. That is Satyasya Satyam. Just that is my introduction. I just try to give you some ideas that what we are going to study in this series of lecture, Upanishad. Actually, when you get the taste of the Upanishad, all this literature, these things becomes very shallow. So this language of the Upanishad, which is so deep, it comes from the experience. Anyhow, we are studying Isha Upanishad, which is the part of White Yajurveda. We covered the first verse. Ishavai samidam sarvam yatkinchat jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magrida kaisya siddhanam. Cover everything with God consciousness. Enjoy through renunciation. Do not covet others' wealth. Do not be greedy for other things. These three things are very beautiful. That is the wholesome life. First, believe that God dwells in this whole universe which you are seeing. It is the body of God consciousness. Second, I know you will enjoy. Enjoy through detachment, so that you will get joy, you will get happiness. Don't enjoy like a like an ordinary, like animals, they enjoy. Not like that. And don't be greedy. Have contentment. These are the three basic things in a spiritual life, very wholesome life. Tyaget dara bhog karo. Sometimes this word is very confusing to many people. How can I enjoy through renunciation? How can I enjoy through detachment? In my previous lecture, I told you elaborately. Still I tell you, let me give me an example from myself. Some devotees give me some gifts, Christmas time especially. I take that money and I give to an organization, those who are helping in Bangladesh and India. In this country also, sometimes I use that money for charitable purposes. Last year we sent $3,000 in Bangladesh. $1,000 gave us 200 nice blankets. So this $3,000 we got 600 blankets. So I know that 600 people will be saved from the cold winter. So from my renunciation of that money, my giving up that money, brought 600 units happiness. I got bliss of 600 units because of the sacrificing the $3,000. So by renunciation, I get so much happiness. All of you, those who give money to the charitable purposes or other things, shares. I sometimes say, those who have extra, share with others. You will get happiness, peace. Look at the man. I see somewhere here a plumber comes. These people work so hard. They earn money. They have wife, children. They sometimes take their wife and children for Disneyland or for some vacation to Yosemite National Forest. This man whole year worked so hard. He sees happiness in the faces of his wife and children. That makes him happy. So his renunciation, his hard labor, his self-sacrifice is bringing peace and joy in the family. That is called enjoy through renunciation. People get scared. Oh, this person renunciation, he could be very selfish. Oh, I shall not give money to my wife and children, I shall enjoy myself. That is called, don't be scared. Enjoy through renunciation. This is the way you can, if you see 100, 200, 400 people are getting joy from your action, from your self-sacrifice, that is called enjoyment through renunciation. Anyway, I shall not go further. I am just giving one example. And sometimes bhog, calm, it is very partial. Do you know what that means? Let me give an example. Parvati wanted Shiva to be her husband. First, she thought perhaps Kamadeva, the god of lust, will create lust in Shiva's mind, and then Shiva will come and marry her. But it became the just opposite. Shiva became angry, from his third eye the fire came, and the god of lust burnt into ashes. In Hindu religion, there are so many gods and goddesses, but you will never see the image of the god of lust. Burnt into ashes. Very subtle. Lust god is in the minds of many, many people anyhow. But what Parvati did, Parvati started to practice austerity. And austerity and renunciation, these things, two things she practiced hard, and at last she got Shiva as her husband. So she sacrificed resignation, renunciation and resignation helped Parvati to have Shiva as her husband. I'm just telling you how renunciation brings the whole thing, not partial thing. Lust will bring only your selfish individual enjoyment, but renunciation will bring maximum, mass happiness. Anyhow, I shall not go that verse anymore. Now the next one. Kurbanneveha karmani jijivishet shatagye samah evam tvai nannate teosti na karma lipate nari. That is the second verse. Beautiful. If a man wishes to live 100 years on this earth, he should live performing action. For you who cherish such a desire and regard yourself as a man, there is no other way by which you can keep work from clinging to you. The Upanishad tells us, if you cannot see God, Brahman in everything and every being, if you cannot renounce, if you cannot get rid of this, all of your greed, this second instruction for you. First instruction for the monastics, this instruction for the householders, family people. Work. Work. I remember last time when I was in Belur Math, I gave a lecture in the training center to our young brahmacharis. I told them, brothers, let me tell you the experience of my long monastic life of 60 years. If you work, you will die. And if you do not work, you will die. Better work for Sri Ramakrishna and the children of Sri Ramakrishna. That is all human beings. You will find fulfillment in life. That is my life's experience. Everybody wants fulfillment in life. Work. A monk will have to give up three desires: location, desire for progeny, desire for name and fame, desire for money. But the householders, they cannot have that kind of instruction. They cannot practice those things. They have families, they have other things, they have commitments, they have duties, they carry, they earn money, they serve, they help the monks, they help everybody. Monks do not earn money. So they will have to work. Do you know how kind of karma is there? Sometimes say karma. Listen how many types of karma there are. First is shabhavik karma, natural karma. Eating, sleeping, cleaning, maintaining family. Eating, sleeping, just cleaning your body and all this thing, that is natural karma. Nitya karma, shabhavik karma. Nitya karma, daily obligatory duties. Morning and evening, you should practice meditation, japam, prayer, study. That will keep your mind in a spiritual plane. That is called nitya karma. Naimittik karma, it is occasionally some kind of activity you can take. For example, perhaps you want to do some kind of sacrifice or to achieving something. In Vedic Kanja, Putrishti Jag, I want a son, perform a sacrifice. There is no rain, perform a sacrifice. That is called naimittik karma. For a specific reason I performed a certain sacrifice, certain work. Or Ishtapurta karma. Ishtapurta karma means I am digging a well for the pilgrims so that they can drink water, or I am planting a banyan tree by the side of the road so that pilgrims will get some rest. These are called Ishtapurta karma. Then Nishiddha karma, forbidden action. Forbidden action like do not kill, do not commit adultery. These are the 10 commandments we read. In all religions, those things are there. Prashchitta karma. Prashchitta karma means you committed some mistake or sinful act and you are expiating that karma through austerity. They go to the Himalayas, they practice severe austerities to counteract that bad karma. Please always remember, once you fall, that doesn't mean you will be on the floor all through your life. Get up, start your life again. You can counteract it. God gave you energy, prana, time, strength. You can say a sinner can be a saint. You should not give up. Never lament that, oh, eternal damnation. Forget it. That Vedanta teaches. That is called prashchitta karma. Then shakam karma. That we do every day. We go to work, 7, 8, 9 hours we work in the office. We have a desire for money. With that money I must maintain my family, my children, my society. That is called shakam karma. Nishkam karma, unselfish action. You are some voluntary work. You are serving. I saw the monks serve in the relief work. I am lecturing here, room and board, working, without any expectation. Nishkam karma. But if I have a motive, oh, somebody must praise me, somebody must give me, then it becomes shakam. Only I know whether I am doing it unselfishly or selfishly. Nishkam karma. Nishkam karma purifies the mind, as I told you many times. And that pure mind only thinks about God. And when all the time if you think of God, you will be illumined. So Nishkam karma, Shankara says, is very, very important in his spiritual pursuit. how many types of karma are there. I love this mantra from Kaushitaki Upanishad. Esa hi vayanam sadhu karma kareti tam yamebho lokebho ninishate. Esa hu evainam asadhu karma kareti tam yam ado ninishate. God will force that person to do good action, whom he will lift up, and vice versa. Sadhu karma karayati, sadhu chintayati. If you think good thoughts, if you do good action, as Buddha says, be good and do good, then your life will be good. Your life will be a benediction, blessing to humanity. That is the way you will find fulfillment in life. Na kalyana krit koshit durgating tata gacchati, Krishna says in the Gita. Kalyana krit. A doer of good never encounter any sufferings. We will have to work. That also Krishna says in the Gita. Nahi kashit kshanavapi jatu tishtati akarma krit. Human beings cannot live in this world without performing action, even for a single moment. If your body is not working, mind is working. Action, action, action. In the domain of Maya, action. Even Krishna mentions about himself. Na me parthasti kartebya trishu lokeshu kinchana nana baptama baptabyam vartaiva cha karmani. Listen, Arjuna. I have no duties in this world. I have no wants, nothing to achieve. I am full. Still, I am always engaged in action. That action is for doing good to humanity. And if I do not do it, all people will follow me, and there will be disaster in this whole creation. Action. Just think of that. If the doctors do not do their work, nurses do not do their work, the city people do not do their work, if the police people do not do their work, there will be chaos. Chaos. If the government does not function, there will be chaos. That is the way Vedanta explains. Do your duty. So what we found in the first mantra is Jnananistha, path of knowledge. And second mantra is Karmanistha, path of action. But eventually both paths will lead us to the same goal. One of the commentators made a beautiful remark. Those who have seen the little movie, how St. Louis people built that arch, what did they do? They built two columns, both sides. And then they bring the middle chunk and put it on the top. When it's at the top, the people are jubilant. So Vedic, we see this during Krishna's time, this time the path of knowledge and the path of action, these two schools are going up, 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 and Krishna brought the devotion and connected the arts. And now arts is functioning very well. Same thing in human life. Path of action and path of knowledge both should be harmonized with the path of love. That I wanted to say. Now about karma. This karma, do you know what happens? It is in Mundaka Upanishad. Pariksha lokan karma chitan brahmano nirvedamayati nasti akrita kritina tad vijnanartam sagurume bhavi gachyat samitpani shrutiyam brahmanisham. Beautiful mantra. Pariksha lokan karma chitan. These students, they explore, examine this path of action. Akrito kritena akrito. Brahman is akrito, uncreated. Uncreated cannot be achieved through creation. Maya. Do you know what Sri Ramakrishna said? If one thorn pricks in your foot, take another thorn and take it out and throw away both. So we need Sattvic Maya to counteract Rajasic and Tamasic Maya. And then Sattvic Maya, Rajasic Maya, Tamasic Maya, all should be thrown up when we reach the goal. No Maya is there in the ultimate reality, in Brahman. So we have some bad tendencies. We must counteract with our good tendencies. Now the Mimamsa school says, why don't you practice both? Example, like firefly, it blinks light, again dark, dark light, dark light. You have seen in the evening, some places firefly blinks. Mimamsa school says, Gyan and Karma, both go side by side. Shankara is very much against it. Shankara says, no, it will not work. Diva Rojani nahi ektam, why there is day, cannot be night. And where there is night, there cannot be day. Darkness and light cannot stay together. The moment you illuminate, your all Maya is gone. Do you know what that means? When Maya is gone, desire is gone. When desire is gone, karma, action is gone. That is Shankara's philosophy. Avidya, kama, karma disappear the moment you are illumined. You have no desire. If you have no desire, you have no incentive, no motive to work. That is the way Vedanta works. The Mimamsa school says, Javad jivam agnihotram juhyat sargukamo jajita. All through your life you must work agnihotra, the fire sacrifice, because that will go to heaven. That is their goal. I want to get heavenly enjoyments. Shankar Krishna says in the Gita, Khine punye martalokam vishanti. You will go to heaven, but after finishing the result of your good action, you will again come back to this world. Always remember, this human life is very, 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 very precious. We got a chance. Through our action, we can make ourselves saints, we can make ourselves sinners, we can make ourselves horrible. All in our hands. You know, when we read this doctrine of karma, I feel that a man or a woman, how much that person can achieve in one life through constant focus toward the ideal. Do not misuse time. That I always say, that every day when you are physically, mentally all right, achieve something, learn something. Go to your teacher. But do you know what? Vedanta monks have also fear. Some monks avoid work. They think work will bind us. Karma bandhan. It will bring bondage. So give up work. I shall not work. One of my friends belonged to that school. He left the Ramakrishna Orchard because there is work in Ramakrishna Orchard. He could not adjust. Work. Krishna told all this secret in the Gita to Arjuna, that work will not bind you if you work according to my instruction. Look what Krishna says. Brahmanadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti lipate na sa papena padmapatrami bambhasha. offer the action and the result of action to God, Brahma. Give up attachment for the result of action. Then you will never incur sin. As the water cannot wet the leaf of a lotus. The lotus leaf, the water you have seen, it may fall there. The moment rain comes, it is a drop of water, it glitters. The moment wind comes, it falls. You will find the leaf is dry. So you will be free from all kinds of sin. In the last part, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam bhaja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami ma shucha. Completely surrender yourself to me. I shall protect you from sin. Do not grieve. That is God's promise to human beings. Beautiful. Now the monks are afraid to work. But if our Swamiji demonstrated that thing, that karma is upasana, it is a worship. Work is worship. When the work becomes worship, it will not bind you. And Swami Brahmananda gave told three things. Work and worship, work as worship, work is worship. When the work becomes worship, when you are typing or writing or cooking or cleaning or whatever you are doing, worship. I am worshiping Sri Ramakrishna. Here sometime, now they are not coming, the Jabutis would come on Sundays. They used to clean the temple. The Saturdays they clean outside. They are doing worship. It is the place of worship. Oh, that attitude will change your everything. That will not bind you. Jivan Mukta, only an illumined soul, he can perform the Nishkam Karma. So Brahmananda made a tremendous statement. But the Nishkam Karma starts after illumination. That is a fantastic statement. After illumination you can do Nishkam Karma. Krishna further mentioned, Tasmat asakta satatam karjam karma samachara asakta hi acharam karma paramapnuti purusha. Being unattached, perform action. And if you act this way, you will attain the Supreme Being. Action. One commentator says, in the first mantra, human beings are drashta, seer, witness of the whole creation, witness of God's creation. In the second mantra, we are the karta and bhokta, doer and enjoyer. But we want to be the witness, seer. Then, according to Shankar, you need a divorce with Maya. Then, tada drashtu sharupi avasthanam, then you will be like a real drashta. You will be established. You see, we see the world in two ways, mithya drishti and sammuk drishti. Mithya drishti means we see variety, multiplicity, diversity. That is wrong way to see this world. That means we have disease. Name of the disease is ignorance, Maya, which makes one many. Sometimes I give this illustration. If you have double vision, what does it mean? It means you have glaucoma or some kind of eye problem, so you have double vision. You see two things. When you are driving, you see two cars are coming toward you. That means you must go to a doctor and take care of your eyes. Double vision is a disease. So, this mithya drishti is a disease, is a ignorance. It comes from Maya. How does one become many? And samyak drishti means you see God in everything. That's why we say it in the first mantra. Mithya drishti is covered with ignorance. It is selfish. Samyak drishti is luminous, calm. That drishti brings two things. An illumined soul, also we find jivan mukto, living free. They also work. Do you know what is their incentive, motivation? Compassion. They feel, human beings are suffering. I must help. He comes with love and compassion. That is the incentive for them to work in this world without any self-interest or any motive. I must help. As Swamiji wrote a letter, 7th June 1896 to Sister Nivedita, the world is burning with miseries, can you sleep? O great ones, come, help, help, like Buddha. That letter, read this letter. 6th June 1896, Swamiji wrote to Sister Nivedita. He mentioned, what is my ideal? That's a beautiful letter. In the Gita also, Krishna says, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. He who sees me in all beings and all beings in me, I never disappear from him, from that person, because I am constantly present in his mind. He sees God in everything, in every being. That is the culmination of Vedantic experience. Ishabhai samedam sarvam, cover everything with God's consciousness. What shall we achieve? When shall I gain from that knowledge? That we'll discuss in verse number 6 and 7. They're coming. Please wait. Another thing I learned yesterday, why Vedanta monks are so afraid of work? The work does not tarnish the mind. It is the attachment tarnishes the mind. কর্ম চিত্তকে মলিন করে না, আসক্তি, attachment tarnishes the mind. Karma does not tarnish the mind. A ashukti comes from selfishness. Ashukti means attachment. Some people say, well, if I am not attached, I do not love my husband, I do not love my wife, I should be attached. Do you know what do they say? They see their Atman is in their wife, their Atman is in the husband. Atman is outside their body. They do not see their innermost Atman. If we experience the innermost Atman, then you will see my Atman and my wife's Atman are the same. Serving my wife, I am serving my Atman. That Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Navare pottu kamaya potim priyo bhavati, atmanastu kamaya potim priyo bhavati. A wife loves the husband not for the sake of the husband. She loves the husband for the sake of the self, for the Atman. She sees my Atman and my husband's Atman are one. That is the highest supreme knowledge Vedanta teaches us. This Upanishad, when I read it, Think of that. Mind goes to the higher plane of consciousness. That is the reason I thought, well, it is good to, we shall not give a intellectual lecture, we shall experiment these mantras in our lives, that where we are and where our teachings should be, teachings are. Whether we can bring these teachings in our day-to-day life, that is the reason I started this series. These Upanishadic teachings. Tell us the Upanishads. Nara nrittanti karmashu. Jaska says, Nara nrittanti karmashu. All human beings are dancing in karma. But they do not know how to work. Next verse, very interesting. The Rishi, the Upanishad of the Rishi of this Upanishad tells us, first two verses are connected with the life, and this third verse is connected with death. Asurja namo te lokan dena tamsabritaha tagyaste pritta vigachanti jeke atmano janaha. Beautiful mantra, beautiful. Verily, those worlds are the Asuras, are enveloped in blind darkness, and there too they all go after death who are slayers of Atman. Upanishad is just like our mother. Our mother always cautions us to go to take the right path. No mother directs their children to go to the wrong path. Upanishad is Bharada Vedo Mata. Scripture says this Veda is like a mother, Bharada, gives boon to us. Tell us what is good for us all the time. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad we find Jaggavalkya is telling Gargi, Etadvai aksharam abhiditva Gargi abhiditva asmat lokat praiti sakripana. Listen, Gargi, I tell you. Without knowing this akshara, Brahman, Atman, a person departs from this world. That person is very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Kripana, wretched. Do you know why? He got a precious human life, but he did not use it. He did not use it. Chance does not come again and again. Asmat loka paiti shakripana. Kenopanishad tells us, Mahuti vinosti, it will bring a terrible disaster. Do you know what is that disaster means? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatareshayanam. You tustare kodu, tustare kripa pare paye murare. Birth and death. Birth and death. Punarapi jananam. Taking birth again and again, dying again and again. Every time you come in the womb of your mother, there is no end. Constantly. And one birth means, think of that. Disease, poverty, this problem, that problem, old age, children, family problem. So many problems we go through in each life. Each person can write his or her own biography. Then you can see how much happiness and how much misery you had encountered in that personal, in that life that he is talking about. Believe this Atma is self-luminous. Ajaro, Amaro, Amrito, Abhayo. It is Jara, free from old age, sickness. Amaro, immortal, fearless. This Atman is self-luminous all the time in there, but we do not know it. Then he says, Atmahano janaha, that is a kind of suicide. It is a kind of suicide. We are committing suicide all the time. Oh, sometimes they say, oh, he is suicidal. Are you are already suicidal. We are all suicidal. We are killing ourselves. You know, nowadays, a Christian theology, they are interpreting the word sin in a different way. Sin means ignorance. Not knowing God is sin. That they are now telling us. You see, there are 7 deadly sins in Christianity. Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. And New Testament, there are 120 places, 24 places sin has been used. Sin, sin, sin. It is in Christian, the doctrine of original sin is in Christian theology, in doctrine. They cannot help it. But Vedanta does not believe in sin. Vedanta says people make mistakes. That doesn't mean that you will have to cry all through your lives. We can change it. You will not have to go to eternal damnation from that. Man can change. Today's sinner can be a saint tomorrow. Atmohana, Atmoghati, Atmoha. Shankara commented that Atman is self-luminous inside us, but due to our ignorance and attachment and delusion, we are not aware of it. That means we are very unfortunate, as if you are killing your own self. It is, Atma, whether it exists or not, it becomes same to that person. In Creation of Discrimination also, Shankara says, Yatu atma mukta na jatate mudodhi sahi atmaha swang vinihanti asad gruhat. The person who embraces lie, unreality, mithya, and killing himself, covering himself, the Atman, and that is the path of degradation. That is a kind of Atmaha. He is killing himself all the time. Another commentator made a beautiful remark. He says, you know, we see in these people are spending their life with parties and eating and politics and quarreling, fighting, you know, achieve money and these prestige fighting. But they are ruining their life, longevity. They are misusing their precious life. It is a kind of suicide. You will have to burn, you will have to born and die again and again, again and again. Another person says not believing the Atman is a kind of suicide. They are Ashur. Ashur means demon. They live in the netherworld, in darkness. That is it. Ashurja namate loka. Shurja means sun. Ashurja means sunless. That means completely dark. And Ashurja means also Ashur, demons. They live in nether worlds. They have not got any taste of the inner bliss of the Atman. As I said, that this Upanishad is just like their mother, is cautioning with this mantra. Look, 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 my children, what will happen to you? I gave birth to you. I gave your mind, intellect, body. Fully utilize it in a proper way. You know, Vedanta, some people think Vedanta is all renunciation. No, Vedanta accepts pravritti margo, nivritti margo. Path of prosperity and path of renunciation, path of liberation. So in the second mantra, Vedanta teaches path of prosperity, pravritti margo. Work. Don't be a lazy bum. Work. That is pravritti margo, Vedanta teaches. Nivritti margo, he teaches, pravritti margo teaches. According to your mental aptitude, follow your path. Don't follow the path of destruction. That will be akin to suicide. Moreover, Vedanta teaches, Atma bhare drushtebhyo, mantebhyo, shrotebhyo, nididhyasitebhyo. Listen, this Atman is to be realized. How? First, through hearing, constantly. Ashupte amrite, till you die and till you go to sleep. Constantly hear about this Atman. First. Second teaching, mantebhyo, reflect on it. Think, think, think. Only hearing is not enough. Think. That is not enough. Third, nididhyasitebhyo, meditate on it. So through hearing, through reflecting, and through meditating, realize this Atman. Vedanta clearly says this is the way. All religions more or less follow the same thing. So first two mantras tell us about life, and the third mantra tell us about death. That is the way we see the whole human life, life and death. How should we leave this world? And if we do not follow these teachings of the Upanishads, we will die. And what death will bring, that we see that again it will be recycled. This recycling will continue. If you do good karma, you will get higher birth. If you do bad karma, lower birth. This is the way, subhuman plane you will go, and you will be recycled. Everything depends upon your karma. Anyhow, I shall stop now. Next two mantras will tell us what is the Atman. Next two verses will tell us what shall we gain knowing the Atman. So this Upanishad is very interesting. I really enjoy, because these mantras, it is just open sesame. It opens the book of life in front of us. This is the thing. You select. Nowadays, very few people try to understand, try to study the Upanishads. That is the reason I started this series. Thank you very much. Matma me shuddhantam jyotiraham virajabi papma bhuyasam. Antaratma me shuddhantam jyotiraham virajabi papma bhuyasam. Paramatma me shuddhantam jyotiraham virajabi papma bhuyasam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May my body become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my mind become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my soul become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May we realize as the light divine. Om, peace, peace, peace be and forth.